This week on At The Multiplex, Bullet Train, 13 Lives, Bodies, 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 and DC League of Super Pets.
Brad Pitt is back in Bullet Train, one of 4 new films that we will be reviewing on this week's episode of At The Multiplex. I am Scott Menzel, founder of the Hollywood Critics Association.
And I'm Erick Weber, editor-in-chief of AwardsAce.com. Our first film is Bullet Train, a supersonic action flick featuring the balls-to-the-wall direction of David Leitch.
Deer Creek International Business Solutions, how can I help you?
I am ready.
Well, that's great, Ladybug.
Ladybug?
Your new operational name?
Oh, I see what you're doing. Ladybug's supposed to be lucky. Ha!
That's Brad Pitt as an unlucky assassin tracking down a $10 million suitcase on, yes, a bullet train hitting hyperspeed from Tokyo to Kyoto.
Twins.
Get off the train.
The pair in possession of the suitcase are also assassins. Some great chemistry between Aaron Taylor Johnson and an outstanding Brian Tyree Henry.
You don't remember me.
You look like every white homeless man I've ever seen.
Really? You don't remember me?
But the most conniving killer on board? Joey King, a little Bo Peep with a death wish. While all the supporting characters here give super fun performances, there's too many in play. The film's screenplay needed to be a bit more streamlined. Runtime is also an issue. The back end / caboose could have been compacted to tighten things up. But Pitt's woe is me delivery and Leitch's electrifying direction makes Bullet Train soar. The complete antithesis of what we just saw with The Gray Man, the $200 million mess from Netflix. This is how you direct a mega budgeted action flick. It is a hit for me.
It is not a hit for me, I'm sorry to say. This movie is exhausting. It is too much of everything. Too many characters, too much script, too much direction, too much runtime. This is overblown in every single way. Now, let me start with this. I really appreciate the direction here. It's sharp, it's stylish, it grabs you right away. But after a while, it's just too much. It keeps going more and more and more over the top. And once we get to the hour mark, I sort of was like, oh my God, like how much more of this do I have to endure? It was too much.
I'll give you this. As I said in the review, it has too many characters in play, okay? There needs to be a couple that are extracted from the screenplay. That's no question, I'll give you that. And also the runtime needs to be tightened up by at least 15 minutes. I think it's a stronger film. But again, the two things that really make Bullet Train for me, Leitch's direction, which is, as you mentioned, ultra stylish. Okay, so that is always going to be a plus for me. And then you have Brad Pitt, who I think is actually getting better as he ages as an actor. We're seeing stronger work from him. He's throwing stuff away, right? And making it more grounded in a way that is more interesting for me to watch. So those two elements alone make this a hit.
I understand, but the problem is that we have so many of these characters and we're following so much of it. And at times, it's just like, what is going on in this movie? There's a snake in this movie that is used as a subplot. I don't understand why it's there. It's just like, okay, we need bigger. We need more. We need more. And all these characters have nothing to do. And they all have origin stories that don't really make much sense, and they're underused. Let's just say Zazie Beetz is in this movie for 5 minutes. You could have put someone else in there, and it wouldn't have mattered. Why use Zazie Beetz?
Because she was in Deadpool 2 with Leitch, right? You know that.
Yes, yeah. And also with the cameos too, right? There's like another cameo at the end of the movie.
That's right.
And you're kind of like, oh, of course. And then it's like, but don't use him? Like, why? And then what is Michael Shannon doing in this movie? Someone please explain to me what he's doing.
It's really a lot of everything. I will give you that, but again, we're going to have to disagree. I mean, this is a hit for me, a miss for you, and sadly, I'm
it's
a little disappointed.
It's a little bit of a mess for me, just because if there was a little bit more toning down in the final act, I would have liked it a lot more. Up next is 13 Lives, the latest film from director Ron Howard. Inspired by the true story, the film follows a group of children and their soccer coach who get trapped in an underground cave.
Hey Rick, you following what's happening in Thailand? Some kids stuck in a cave.
Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell, and Joel Edgerton star as the leaders of the rescue team who are called in to help.
It looks easy, but when it's flooded, it's impassable.
Director Ron Howard does a solid job of retelling the story and does so in a compelling fashion. The performances are all strong and I was deeply engaged in the rescue mission, despite the repetitive nature of some of the scenes.
They're very, very dangerous.
High water level and the low visibility.
Barely shoulder wide, pulling against very strong currents.
The film would have benefited greatly from a shorter runtime as well as some additional scenes that allowed the viewer to get to know the children a little bit more. I feel like the film glanced over them and focused a bit too heavily on the rescue. I would have also liked to see more of the children's parents and some of the town residents as well.
How many of you?
13.
13! They're all alive.
Can we go out now?
Still, 13 Lives is a fascinating true story and one that reminded me of an old-fashioned movie that was on HBO. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. 13 Lives is a hit for me.
It's a hit for me too, and it really comes down to Ron Howard, again, capably directing this film. It's not flashy, right?
No.
We can agree but it's very, again, capably directed. And I don't think Ron Howard gets enough credit for being able to tell the story as detailed as he does. I agree with you that this is too comprehensive. You know, we have the kids in the cave, and we don't need to necessarily see every single kid come out, right?
Yes.
But we have both Colin Farrell and Viggo Mortensen here. And let me say one thing about Viggo in this movie. When you listen to his British accent, did you not for a moment say, wait a second, is Viggo British?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he's so convincing as an actor.
Oh.
I mean, it's why he's always casted in so many things. He's just terrific.
And that's the thing here. I think this could be an awards play for him. You put him in a supporting role. It's that good.
I think he's really good, but I don't know if it's an awards play. I really don't. I feel like this movie's coming out a little too early, and also the fact that it's an Amazon release and it's coming out in August. I just don't see this movie getting awards.
It's going to be harder for them, but I think that it's going to resonate with the average movie watcher, right? It's going to be available on streaming for a lot of people to watch here starting this weekend. And I think that that's going to benefit the film as we go forward. But I think, again, bringing it back to why this film works, it really is, for me, Ron Howard. This is his best film since Rush.
I agree with you, Eric. But my one critique, and I can't help but say this, is that for a film that's focused on children, we don't get enough of the children. We don't get to focus on them at all, and we don't learn anything about them. And I feel like that's something that they really miss on this movie.
I think it had to do with the language barrier. Maybe that's what the thought was when they put the film together. But I'd agree. We need to spend a little more time with the kids in the cave. But again, for me, a hit and a hit for you as well.
Absolutely.
Our next film is Bodies, 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 a Scream meets Clue horror comedy that unfortunately is neither scary nor funny, but is extremely irritating.
They're not as nihilistic as they look on the internet. You guys, this is me.
With a hurricane rolling in, 6 Gen Z friends and one of their boyfriends decide to ride it out by having a massive house party in a mansion owned by Pete Davidson's dad. Why not play a game of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies to pass the time?
Who wants to play Bodies, Bodies, Bodies?
So how do you play?
You draw a card, the one with the X is the killer, but soon after, one of the 7 turns up dead with a slashed neck. The hunt is on to find the real killer.
If you're the murderer, you have to kill someone by touching them on the back.
We've seen this film so many times before, but what makes this film unique, and I put that in quotes, the Gen Z accusations of gaslighting, triggering, and toxicity. What's written to be satire simply comes across as annoying as we're trapped inside this place with a bunch of entitled whiners.
Someone's doing this. They're trying to kill us off one by one.
That would be so obvious if I were the killer.
Taking off my clothes in the window for the neighbor.
It's a very strong miss for me. In fact, Scott, I really gave strong consideration to walking out of the screening about halfway through.
This was painful to sit through. And I saw this at South by Southwest. It was one of the last movies that I saw there. And this movie is everything that's wrong with society today. It's just a bunch of people complaining and whining. And I'm being pitched that this is entertainment. Mm-hmm. Something about this is supposed to be entertaining. And it's not. Not at all. The performances from all these actresses, although they are all very, very talented, the material does not elevate them in any way, shape, or form.
None of the characters are likable, okay?
No.
Except for, I would say, Lee Pace, but there's a problem with that, and I don't want it'll give away a spoiler if we do that. But when you're trapped inside this place with all these largely unlikable characters, it makes the film a real drain. I mean, it was really tough to sit through, and it's only a 90-minute film, and it felt far longer. I just think that what they're trying to do here with the satire, and we know that's what it is, right? It's a satire on Gen Z, I get it. But again, if you're going to make a horror comedy, do something like Ready or Not, right? Go back and look at what that Samara Weaving film, the Searchlight film from, I believe it's 2019. What a great horror comedy. If you're going to do that, that's what you want to do. Not bodies, bodies, bodies.
No, and I don't know who they're targeting this movie towards. It's Gen Z. I get it. It's so Gen Z. It's like whining about everything, referencing Instagram, referencing TikTok. But really, where is the entertainment value? It's just characters screaming and yelling and fighting with one another on repeat for 90 minutes straight. And yes, there's so many ties to social media and all these references, and it's like, oh my God, we're so clever, we're so great. And none of it is clever. None of it is great. It's not even entertaining. It's not laughable.
No.
There's just nothing about this. I also agree with you that I wanted to walk out. I felt so old when I watched this movie. I was like, who is this for besides a bunch of whiny 13-year-olds?
100%. And I'll tell you what, when we end up doing our end of the year, worst films of the year, there's a very, very, very high likelihood that Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is on that list for me.
Oh, no doubt. For me too. This is another one of these movies that showcases that 2022 has been hit or miss. And this is a miss. Finally, we have DC League of Super Pets, which features the voice talents of Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Kate McKinnon, and Natasha Lyonne.
Wake up, buddy. It is walk o'clock. Maybe I should let him sleep. Okay, I have an owner.
The film follows Krypto, who after Superman and the rest of the Justice League are kidnapped, must team up with a group of shelter animals with superpowers to help save the world from an evil guinea pig.
Ace, deploy canine shield.
What is a canine?
Evade! Excellent shielding. That seemed incredibly painful.
Directed by Jared Stern, DC League of Super Pets doesn't reinvent the wheel when it comes to animation or animated storytelling. However, what it does do, and what it does very well, is it finds a good balance of humor and heart.
Great. I'm the only one who didn't get any superpowers.
While the film is very family-friendly, several of the jokes are irrelevant and geared specifically towards adults, similar to Teen Titans and the Lego movies. The script is also very touching, and if you're an animal lover like myself, the Ace the Bat Hound backstory will definitely hit you emotionally. For me, the standouts of the film were Natasha Lyonne as Merlin the Turtle and Kate McKinnon as Lulu. It was great that they also incorporated Thomas Middleditch and Ben Schwartz as sidekicks into the film. DC League of Super Pets is a hit for me.
I'm going to stop you right here, Scott. You just compared DC League of Super Pets with the Lego movie. Did I hear that correct?
The Lego movies.
Okay, certainly not the Lego movie. Maybe Lego Movie 2.
And the Lego Batman movie.
Listen, Batman and Lego movie are better films than this. This is a cash grab, okay? This is a film that someone over at Warner Brothers said, how can we sell a lot of plush dogs at our gift shop at the studio store? That is why this film exists, and you know it. Now, I'm not saying that it is unwatchable or it's putrid or something that everyone should absolutely run from and flee. But that said, it is not a great film, and I'm sitting here watching it going, other than Dwayne Johnson, who I think does a nice job voicing the character, and I think Kevin Hart as well, it's just not worth sitting through unless you have a young kid alongside of you. They're the ones who are going to enjoy it. If you're an adult, you're going to be like looking at counting the tiles on the top of the theater.
No, I kind of disagree here. And the reason why I disagree is because it does have a lot of references to DC. And there's a lot of inside jokes that if you're a fan of DC, you're going to pick up on. And I think that really does work. I saw this at a press screening. There was a lot of people in the theater with me, and everyone was laughing. They really enjoyed the jokes and the humor. And I think the fact that it actually has family-friendly humor combined with adult humor makes it work for both kids and audiences alike.
Yeah, again, it just doesn't have that inside smart joke-telling ability that a Lego movie had. And that goes back to, Lord and Miller. You talk about two guys who are geniuses when it comes to comedy. So this film just suffers from that lack of that next level laughs. And that's the issue here for me. Again, it's a miss for me. It's not a mega miss. It just is not really worth your time, again, unless you have young kids you're dragging along to the theater.
And I want to say that I really think if you're a dog lover, this movie is going to really resonate with you. As I said, the backstory of some of the characters, they're really going to pull on the heartstrings, and that's really what connected with me. I feel like the characters and then also the ties into DC work.
See, this is why I didn't like it. I'm a cat person. That's it. I just
figured
it out.
There you go. We figured it out.
All right.
Perfect.
We
split.
Recapping our films this week. We split on Bullet Train. I gave it a hit. Scott, a miss.
We both agreed on 13 Lives. Both of us, it's a hit.
We both are down big misses on Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
And once again, we are split on DC League of Super Pets.
And until next time, we'll see you at the Multiplex.